Hey everyone, my name is Jake, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how I made a nutrition tracker in Google Sheets. This is to help me out with the 6-week Lift League challenge that we're doing over here at LivWel. Over here you can see these are all of my nutrients, or rather nutrition. This is all in order of how the nutrition tab in MyFitnessPal under your diary, how it shows it. So it's all in order, so it's easy for you to just hold your phone and enter everything one by one. If you scroll down, we have a few charts. We have a 100% stacked column chart that this is showing out of a total day's consumption, what percentage is protein, fat, and carbs. We have a line chart with calories, line chart for protein, a clustered column chart for fats, and a clustered column chart for carbs, fiber, and sugar, and then a smooth line chart for cholesterol and iron, and finally a single bar chart for water. So to build all of this, what I did was I went to sheets.google.com. When you get to that site, you're going to either have to log in with your Gmail or you'll already be logged in. You do need to have a Gmail for this. Or you can use Microsoft Excel, but it's not nearly as mobile friendly. But once you are logged into Google and you're on Google Sheets' website, you're going to click New Blank Workbook. When you do that, you're going to have a page that looks like this, or a workbook that looks like this. First thing let's do is let's change this to Nutrition Tracker. And then I like to change the sheet name also, but what I'm doing is just double clicking and then nutrition. So with this blank workbook, where I like to usually start is close to the top corner. So I'll start over here in B1. This is column A is going to have the name of my nutrition, my nutrients, and everything in row 1 is going to be the dates. So let's put Monday the 23rd was our first day of the Lift League challenge. And then we're going to have calories here, protein, and then so on and so forth as all the nutrients. A cool trick to do in Excel, or rather Sheets, is you can click on this date cell and it knows that it's a date, and hover over this blue square, and when you do, your cursor is going to turn into a black cross. You can click and drag it to the right, and by doing it, you have all the dates going left to right in one day at a time, increasing order. So we end over here at 12/11. The thing is, though, our 6-week Lift League challenge that ends March 4th because it ends on the week of February 26th. So we're going to have to add a bunch of columns to the right. Now, your sheet might have different number of columns. This is not a brand new workbook that I'm working with. So you're going to want to extend it all the way until the date is going to be 3/4. So what I like to do is I'll just highlight a bunch of rows. So from column L to, let's say, U, doesn't matter. You're going to right click and then insert columns right. So by doing that, you're now inserting a bunch of blank columns. If you just click on the column and do right click it, you're only doing it one at a time. So I'll select a bunch so that way I can grab a bunch. Now we're just going to click on the most recent date over here on the right hand side and drag it over. Nope, still February 21st. So let's highlight this. Probably going to need another at least 10, 11 more days. And then go over here and then drag it over. 3/4, perfect. So there we go. Column AP was enough for 3/4. So go into your nutrition tab on MyFitnessPal and enter each one of them one by one in order to make it easier for you. I'm just going to copy and paste over here because I already did it. There we go. So let's grab the first few days of my Lift League challenge. Let's grab the first 4. And then we're going to paste values. Perfect. Now, in my tracker, I have these data points that come directly from MyFitnessPal, but also I added this below. Water is also in MyFitnessPal, I guess, as well. But these guys are formulas that we're going to make together right now. and this is going to show you the percentages of your carbs, fat, and protein out of a total day. We're essentially getting ready to make this 100% stacked column chart. Yeah, so the first thing we're going to do is type in carbs, percent, then fat, percent, then protein, percent. Okay. What we're going to do is first start with carbs. So we want to see if, well, let's say we eat 100 grams of carbs, 100 grams of fat, and 100 grams of protein. That's 300 grams total. We want to find out the percentage of carbs out of that 300 grams total. So if it's 100 grams of carbs out of 300 grams total, 33%. So to do that, we're going to have to enter this exact formula. We're going to hit equals. We're going to take our mouse and go over to where it says carbs. We're going to click carbs. So now it should say B4 over here. And then we're going to hit on the keypad the divided by sign. And we're going to open a parentheses. And we're going to click protein plus carbs plus, oh, I hit enter by mistake, plus fat. And then you're going to hit close parentheses over here. And this is what it should look like. And what this is saying is the total of carbs divided by the total of carbs, protein, and fat. So by hitting enter, it should be about 49%. Yep. Ignore autofill. It usually doesn't work as well as you need it to. So just ignore whenever it says autofill. So we're going to do the same thing again. So we're going to do equals for fat. We're going to click this cell. And we're going to hit equals. We're going to grab fat and divided it by the total of protein plus carbs plus fat. And then close parentheses. There we go. And we're going to do the last thing, same thing for protein though. And we're going to do protein divided by protein plus carbs plus fat. And the parentheses are incredibly important because if not, let's say for this carbs example, if you don't have the parentheses, Excel goes in PEMDAS, left to right order. So everything in the parentheses gets done first. But if it wasn't there, the division sign would happen first. So it would be the protein B4, the carbs B4 divided by protein, which would be 310 divided by 217, which is like 1.3, and then plus the totals of the carbs and fat. So that wouldn't be a percentage; it would just be a big number. So the parentheses are incredibly important. Once you've done that, let's highlight these three cells by just clicking and dragging like that, and let's turn it into percent and get rid of a couple zeros by hitting this decrease decimal places. So there we go, 49, 16, 35. What I'm going to do is, as we still have it highlighted, hover my mouse over here and do that same thing with the cursor where it's a black cross, and just click and drag to the right, and it automatically works. For this specific formula, it works. Definitely learn, if you can, more Excel and more Google Sheets if you're going to be doing that. Because if you start dragging things down, start dragging things around, you might have issues. So for this one specific formula, you can easily just highlight it and just drag it over. And then finally, let's do water. Water, let's say 64, 70, 66 ounces. I haven't started tracking my water until we needed to, which was Sunday. So I don't have anything for these days, so I'm just making it up just for the ease. Okay, so now we have pretty much a good little data set over here going. We have our nutrition for a few days, and then as each day comes, we're going to enter it over here. Let's say this 5th day comes around, and we just enter everything in. We're going to paste. Oh, paste as values. There we go. And then we're going to just highlight this and drag it over. And then it works perfectly. And let's say we drank 84 ounces of water, just to be freaking ballers. So yeah, so that's how you would be updating it every day, and like updating the percentages over here with these formulas. You can drag these formulas out all the way, but it's going to give you a divide by zero error, and when you put that into a chart, it's going to give you big boo-boo errors. So don't try to be any fancy pants. So let's see. We can do also. There's tricks to prevent those divide by zero errors, but you know what? Let's do it. Screw it. Let's do it. So we're going to go over here into the first column of data, the B column, and we're gonna click the carbs one, and we're gonna go over here into the formula, and in between the equal sign and B4, we're gonna type in the statement if error. It doesn't have to be in caps, but if error, and what that's saying is that if there's an error, then we're gonna do something else. So we're gonna put a comma. This comma means if error within this amount, comma, do this thing. So everything before this comma, this right here, is what it's testing to see if there's an error. If there is an error, we're going to use 0 instead. And that's it. And you close the parentheses. Hit enter. And then it's going to do it's going to look the exact same way as before because nothing changed. We're going to do the exact same thing here. If error. And then we're going to do comma 0, close parentheses, and then this if error, comma 0, and then close parentheses. So now we can highlight this the same way we did before, and then drag it, and nothing changes. But if we drag it this way, all the way to the end of our LivWel tracker, it's at 0, and it's not going to break our charts anymore. So we can keep it that way. So now we have our data set and we know how to update it daily. The next step is let's make the sheet look pretty, because the final step after that is to make the charts themselves. I don't like to move charts around once they've been made because it's just a pain in the butt to drag up the page, drag down the page. It's annoying. So I like to move things around and make the changes now before I've made the charts. So the first thing I like to do is not work in the light theme. I like working in dark theme. So what I'll do is go and click this box over here above 1 and to the left of A. I click the box and everything's highlighted. So let's change the fill color, which is right here in the middle. We're going to change it to black, and then the text color to white. And look how much cleaner that looks. So then I like to add a little bit of padding on the top and bottom as well. So, I mean, the top and left as well. So on the left-hand side, if I click column A, if I right-click and hit insert one column to the left, I'll have a little bit of padding. I'll take my mouse, put it in between columns A and B, and then click and drag when I have this little white arrow, double-pointed arrow, and then I'll drag it a little bit that way, and boom. That one cell, that one column can be made smaller, and I treat it as a little bit of a padding, so it doesn't look like the data is directly against the row numbers. Next, let's get the LivWel logo in this. Well, let's rep the LivWel. So what I did was I went to LivWelStrength.com. It's a gorgeous website that they have going on, and you can right here, right-click and copy the image, and then anywhere you want, just paste it. This is really big, this one. So what I did actually was I grabbed the one all the way at the bottom because it was also in white text, and then copy image, and it looks a little bit better against this black background. So this is what I do for when there's an image on the sheet. I'll make it the size that I want first. So let's say about that, and then I'll line it up with one of the rows just so that way I can count it. So I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is 8 rows long, high. So I'll go over here to the top and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Insert 8 rows above, and then I'll just click the image and put it up there. Let's move to the right a little bit. Beautiful. Look at that. So now look how much nicer that looks. So now that we have it formatted the way we want, let's actually highlight this and bolden it up, and then highlight this and bolden it up as well. It's just a personal preference. There's no, you don't need to do it if you don't want to. If you don't care. So now let's start making these charts. The most important thing I could say to you about making charts in Google Sheets is the order in which you select your data matters. So if I selected cholesterol over here, I highlighted this row, and then I highlighted this date row, it would make the chart backwards. So what you're going to do is you're going to start over here in this blank row. You're going to highlight everything up to the dates that you want. So we're going to start, for this example, it's B9, right above calories, that blank, all the way to G9, which is our most recent date. So it'll be just this first row, and you're going to let go. So you have this first row highlighted. You're next going to hold the control button on your keyboard. If you're using a Mac, it's going to be your command button. You're going to hold it down, and you're going to go to the next thing that you want to highlight. So now we have the dates. Now we want to choose calories. Let's see the calories over the dates. Let's make a chart for that. So let's hold down control, and then you're going to highlight the calories. So now you're able to highlight 2 rows at a time. The more you hold, if you hold control, you can highlight 3, 4, however many you want. Control allows you to highlight multiple things at a time. So now we have 2 little sections highlighted, and we're going to want to make a chart out of it. Let's click Insert, and then click Chart. And there we have a nice little chart. So we want to customize this a little bit. The first thing is, let's see, let's make this, let's make this a little bit more narrow. Let's make it right there. And let's make it a wide boy. All the way to the end over here. You know what? Let's make it a little bit less. We want to be able to see it all when we're looking at the home page. Let's do it right to there. Perfect. Okay, let's go step by step on how we're doing things. So first thing is the title. Let's double click into the chart itself, and then once you're in there, you can click whatever you want. Let's click first the title. It says calories. That's fine. Let's put it in the center. Next up, I personally don't like to have a title on the axes because we already know what they are. Like you seeing 0, 1000, 2000, 3000, you know that's calories under a table that's called calories. So I like to just hit the delete key once I have this highlighted. Gone. Next, I remove the major grid lines that you see over here. So if you click these vertical lines, I personally remove them because it doesn't look anything, it doesn't make it look better or worse in my opinion, so I just get rid of it. And then for the data itself, we're going to click on the line for the line chart, and we're going to add data labels. So over here, by hitting data labels, now we can put them below the entries, and then we can also, if we hover right over one of our data labels, you see how like there's those little circles that appear if you click. Then you can change the point to a diamond or to whatever you want, a star, pentagon, hexagon, whatever you'd like, and you can change the diamond size as well. So now that looks pretty nice so far. Next, let us go to the horizontal axis. I like to slant the dates. Like, so if you go over, if you look over here, it says slant labels. Click auto and change it to 30 degrees, and it looks nice once you have like all the dates in. So now we've customized the chart to look somewhat nice. But I personally like a black chart with white text. It looks a lot cleaner. It matches the look of this sheet as well. So let's double click into the chart, customize, and we'll go into the text for each bit of text first. So let's start with the title. We're going to go to title text color and change it to white. We're going to go to the vertical axis just by clicking. I'm only clicking on the things themselves, and it takes me automatically. We're going to go to text color and change it to white. And we're going to go to the horizontal axis change text color to white, and then we're going to go back to the top, chart style, and hit background color and do black. Look how much nicer that looks. Now we're going to go back to the chart, and you see where it says setup over here? Here's where it gets really cool, that this is going to now automatically update. What we're going to do is go to the last column that we have, which is AQ. AQ is the last column that we have in this table. So this chart, what it's saying is that it's grabbing data from the range B9 to G10. We want this G to be instead AQ, because we don't want it to end at this column. We want it to end it at the last column. So let's hit that. And then, just in case this doesn't get checked off, isn't checked off, make sure to have this one, treat labels as text, checked. And now you're going to have all your dates. And look how nice that looks. So let's do that again. Let's do it again now with protein. So we're going to highlight the first row, or our date row, and then we're going to hold control, and we're going to highlight protein, just like that. We're going to click insert, we're going to click chart, and protein is looking good already. So let's move it right here, a little bit below. And that red line is really helpful because it tells you that it's perfectly in line with the chart above it. So let's make it wide. Boom. And you see how that blue line appears when I go left to right? That means it's perfectly in the same length as it. And then if I go over here with this, making it narrower, there you go. And it now says it's the exact same width as that, or the same height as that. So now these two charts are exactly the same height and width. So we're going to first start by, just like last time, we're going to double click into the chart itself and click title. Let's move this to the center. Yeah, as we do this over and over, you're going to see a pattern. So while we're in each one, let's just automatically, or what do you call it? While we're here, change the color to white. Then we're going to go over to the vertical axis, get rid of any labels that we have here, because we don't need to know that that is protein because it says already on the top. Then we're going to click on the vertical axis data and change it to white. And we're going to go to the horizontal axis data and change it to white. Like I said before, I like to get rid of the major grid lines because I don't find them very useful. So I get rid of that. We're going to click on the line itself, the data line. And we're going to change the color to, let's say, green for, that LivWel green for the protein getting swole. Yeah. We'll change the dash type to dotted dash. We're going to add data labels. We're going to put them below the line so that way they can all show. And then I'm going to show you one more time how I do this. Then when I hover over the line, and I hover over the number itself, you see how those little white circles appear? If I click once, then you're going to see where is it? Point shape. So point shape, let's change it to stars. Let's do triangles. I like triangles. Let's do that. Okay, perfect. Now we're going to click onto the horizontal axis, change the text color to white, and slant the labels to 30% or 30 degrees. Finally, we're going to go up to chart style, change background color to black. Look how much nicer that looks. But you can see that these dates aren't all showing, so that's because if in setup, this needs to be checked off. Treat labels as text. Now, the next thing is changing G to AQ. So we just click over here to AQ. And change this to AQ. And now what that's going to do is going to give us all the dates within this range. So now as we enter things, let's say there's protein here. Let's say 225. See? Just automatically appears. And then delete. It's gone. So there's the protein. There are the calories. Now let's do the percentages. 100% bar stacked chart. Yeah. So highlight the dates. You could always highlight the dates going all the way out and do it, but I tried that quite a few times and I was running into errors whenever I was doing it. So yeah, I personally don't. So we have the dates highlighted, and now we're going to hold control. We're going to start at carbs and click and drag, click and drag out, and now you have all these guys. We're going to click insert chart, and we're going to have a really cool looking line chart, but that's not what we want. We want to see out of the total day, what are the percentages we're eating. So we're going to change the chart type over here to a 100% stacked column chart, which is right here. Now, in case you whenever you do this, in case you are running into issues where the charts are not showing properly, make sure these are all checked off and combined ranges is vertical. That is an important thing. If you don't have it like this, it'll make the chart look all wonky. So let's first make this narrow. There we go. You see that blue line? That tells us that it's the same size as the other ones. We're going to make it wide. There we go. And that blue line on the bottom says it's just as wide as the others. So let's go one at a time to each thing. Let's see. I'm going to get rid of the percentages here because it's not really that. There we go. Then we're going to center it and turn it white. Boom. Then we're going to go over here to these data labels. Or, sorry, the vertical axis. We're going to turn it white. We're going to go to the horizontal axis, slant it 30 degrees, and then turn it white. And then each one of these, we want to add the data labels to. We want to make sure that we see the percentages. So I'm going to click on the yellow one first, and then click data labels. I want them inside, centered, and white. There we go. And then let's do fat. I just clicked on the red and do the same thing. Data labels, position, center, text, white, and then I click on the blue and I do the exact same thing. Text, white, and position, center. There we go. And then over here we have a subhead. We have the legend. So we want to change the text of the legend to white. We're going to go to chart style and do background color black. And look how nice that pops out. Last thing we got to do is expand our chart to contain everything. So let's go to setup. And then instead of G9, we're going to go to AQ9 for both of them. And there we go. And these 0% are going to show if you have all these going out. If you don't, then it's not going to show. So that's why this one shows 0%, and on mine it doesn't, because I don't mind dragging this out whenever I enter these guys in. So let's see what it would look like if got rid of them. See, it looks nicer without it personally, but it's up to you. It's totally up to you. These guys are not showing all the way the dates, so it might be a good idea to make these guys a little bit taller. So this is what I mean by it with the charts, like being a little tricky. There you go. So you have to finagle them a little bit. Perfect. Okay, cool. So we have carbs, fat, and protein percentages. Don't judge me for the numbers if they're not good. I know I consume a lot of fat. I'm trying to lower it. Let's see. The next thing is fats. You know, if we're talking about fats, let's go back to fats. We're doing a clustered column chart. So a clustered column chart is going to be same process as before. We select the dates, and then we're going to hold Control, and we're going to highlight all this fat right there. Insert chart, and there we go. So let's bring this down a little bit. Okay, so we're going to turn this in from a line chart into a column chart. There we go. And now let us make these wide boys. And then narrow that down. There we go. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is change the title. because we just need fat. And then we're going to center it, and I'm going to make it white. Next, we're going to go into the legend, and I'm going to go into each one. I'm going to double click and get rid of the... I wrote fat in front of each one. So if you just wrote it out as like saturated and poly, then you wouldn't have to worry about this. So this is just me cleaning this up to make it look nicer. There we go. So now that we have that, we can click on the legend and turn that white. We're going to choose the vertical axis, make that white, and then the horizontal axis, slant it 30 degrees, and then make it white. Last thing is let's add some data labels. I like to put the data labels for this one on the top because it's going to be pretty narrow and you're not going to be able to read it if otherwise. So position, outside end, and then click the red one, data labels, position, outside end, and then each one, data labels, position, outside end, position, outside end, and then it's really hard to select the trans fats and stuff. There you go, data label. I mean, I hope for you guys also it's hard because that means that we're not eating them. Yeah, outside end. There we go. So now we have the different fats. Let's change the background of this to be black so we can see everything. Looks absolutely gorgeous. And now let's go to setup and change G to AQ and G to AQ. And there you go. So now we have the fats. And this is all mobile friendly as well. So when you open up on mobile, it's going to look pretty clean too. What is the next one? I think the next one I'm going to do is water because that's about it. Yeah, so let's take a look at water now. Water is just going to be a simple bar chart, super easy. So we're going to do as usual. We're going to select the dates first. And then we're going to hold control, and then we're going to select water. And then insert chart. Let's put water right over here. We're going to change it to a column chart. We're going to add the data labels, white, position in the center, and then get rid of the vertical title, horizontal axis, make it white, 30 degrees, make this the title center, make it white, make the vertical axis white as well, and go to the background and make it black. We're going to expand it all the way over here, and then make it short. There we go. And then double click into it to go back to setup and change G9 to a Q9. There we go. There's the water. So yeah, that's pretty much it. As you guys do the Lift League challenge, as you guys enter all this information in, eventually you guys are going to get to the end of this. And at that point, you can just continue adding more columns. Like you can just highlight literally all of this right here and just click insert 14 column, however many columns to the right. Then you're going to click over here and just drag everything out. And then you would just go into each of these graphs that you did. And just instead of doing G to AQ, you would change AQ to, for this example, BE. So you just continue increasing the width of it, or the range of it rather. You're also probably need to make the charts a little bit bigger, probably, maybe. Let's see. Otherwise it starts looking like that and the dates start getting condensed. So yeah, overall, I think everybody who's doing this challenge is kicking its butt, and I think this can help everybody out if you guys put in the information. If you guys need any help, feel free to reach out. I'm more than happy to help you guys out. If you guys see me in the morning classes, I'm usually there either 5:30 or 6:45, depending on the day. So feel free to like say what's up. And yeah, if you guys need anything, let me know. And I hope you guys enjoy. Thanks.